term digital divide is usually used to refer to any inequalities between groups in terms of access to, use of, or knowledge of information and communication technologies. The divide within a country can refer to inequalities between individuals, households, businesses, and geographic areas at different socioeconomic and other demographic levels, including education, income, and age, while the global digital divide examines the gaps or inequities between developing and developed countries on an international scale. In this segment, we will first look at some of the statistics related to the digital divide in Canada and the US, and then broaden our perspective to look at the global digital divide. The statistics from the following two slides come from Statistics Canada and were compiled in 2008. Given that we are 5 years beyond 2008, we can expect that some of these statistics are outdated, but there is little research available with stats from 2012 or 2013. Almost 3/4, or 73%, or 19.2 million Canadians aged 16 and older, went online for personal reasons during the 12 months prior to the survey. This was up from just 2/3, or 68%, in 2005 when the survey was last conducted. For the first time, the survey covered young people aged 16 and 17. They accounted for almost 1 of the 5 percentage point increase in internet use between 2005 and 2007. Survey results showed that the digital divide, or gap in the rate of internet use, still existed among certain groups of Canadians on the basis of income, education, and age. The survey also showed that people living in urban areas continued to be more likely to have used the internet than those from smaller towns and rural areas. Only 65% of residents living in small towns or rural areas access the internet, well below the national average, while just over 3/4, or 76%, of urban residents did so. Both proportions were higher than in 2005. The vast majority, 91%, of people in the top quintile, more than $95,000, used the internet. This was almost twice the proportion of 47% for the lowest quintile, less than $24,000. This gap in use has narrowed slightly since 2005. In terms of education, 84% of individuals with at least some post-secondary education used the internet in 2007, compared with 58% of those who had less education. Again, this gap has narrowed slightly since 2005. Age remained an important factor. In 2007, 96% of persons aged 16 to 24 went online, more than 3 times the 29% among seniors aged 65 and older. However, internet use increased among all age groups since 2005. The proportion of men and women using the internet during 2007 was just below 3/4 for both. Among people born in Canada, 75% used the internet, compared with 66% of those born elsewhere. However, the rate was 78% among immigrants who arrived in Canada during the last 10 years. Most of these recent immigrants live in urban areas. For more details, visit the Stats Canada site at the link provided on your slide. Go to the link on the slide and view the Digital Divide infographic. Does anything on the infographic surprise you? How do you think Canada fares in comparison? Before we go any further, stop for a moment and consider what your life would be like without the internet. How would it be different? There are people who still do not have access. Go to the link on the slide and investigate the infographic. More recently, the notion of a digital divide has been used not only to compare the haves and have-nots in terms of access, but also to describe the level of service available. Today, the most discussed issue is the availability of the access at an affordable cost. A particular group or country can be disadvantaged even if they have access to the internet. Such disadvantages can take the form of lower performance computers, lower quality, or high-price connections. Example, narrowband or dial-up connection, difficulty of obtaining technical assistance, and lower access to subscription-based contents. The idea that quality access to ICTs is vital to a democratic society is not new. We have heard in previous modules how the internet and other ICTs have the potential to transform society, improve our mutual understanding, and help to eliminate power differentials. There are a variety of arguments regarding why closing the digital divide is important. The major arguments are the following. Number 1, economic equality. Some think that the access to the internet is a basic component of civil life that some developed countries aim to guarantee for their citizens. Telephone is often considered important for security reasons. Health, criminal, and other types of emergencies might indeed be handled better if the person in trouble has an access to the telephone. Another important fact seems to be that much vital information for people's career, civic life, safety, etc., are increasingly provided via the internet. Even social welfare services are sometimes administered and offered electronically. Number 2, social mobility. Some believe that computer and computer networks play an increasingly important role in their learning and career, so that education should include that of computing and use the internet. Without such offerings, the existing digital divide works unfairly to the children in lower socioeconomic status. In order to provide equal opportunities, governments might offer some form of support. Number 3, democracy. Some think that the use of the internet would lead to a healthier democracy in one way or another. Among the most ambitious visions are that of increased public participation in elections and decision-making processes. Number 4, economic growth. Some think that the development of information infrastructure and active use of it will be a shortage to economic growth for less developed nations. Information technologies in general tend to be associated with productivity improvements. The exploitation of the latest technologies may give industries of certain countries a competitive advantage.